Sit!
Welcome to the Dynasty Nerds Fantasy Football Podcast, where we discuss dynasty strategy, rankings, and all things NFL. So get ready to geek out on fantasy football with your host, Rich Dotson.
And welcome to the Dynasty Nerd Fantasy Football Podcast. I'm Rich Dotson. He's Matt O'Hara.
Hey.
He's Garrett Price.
How's it going?
I'm still poor, but we're back talking Dynasty Fantasy Football.
Yeah, we are.
I'm going to get rich in spirit and in name only.
The name only.
Yeah, it's a
You're
problem.
always rich, man. That's
Yeah.
great.
Always
rich.
Like everybody has like something you have to hear about, like whether because your name, like if your last name was like
Price.
Price or something like that.
Pussy
Like,
foot.
oh, rich. You know, like you tell people like, hey, I'm rich, and you're like, oh, yeah, gotta live with that joke your whole life.
You know how many times I've heard the price is wrong, bitch?
37 times.
At least. Last week.
So we're back. We're talking about rich and poor. We're going to talk about buys and some sells here. On today's show, we have the likely-o-meter back as well.
It's back.
So
it's back.
Garrett made these show sheets to help me coming from Vegas. Knew my mind would be scrambled.
Like eggs.
And he's giving me a position just to talk Dynasty casually. For that, I love you.
I'll do it again.
I appreciate you. Please, let's get into the first segment of the week.
So normally I like to leave things very open-ended. I like to leave options for these guys. So like I'll do the buys of the week, and that's what our first segment, buy of the week. And I'll say like, hey, here's 3 different guys that we can choose from. 1, I knew how this weekend was going to go. But 2, I feel very strongly about this one.
So strong.
I didn't give the options this week.
Nope.
I said we have one option and one option only. And this is what we're doing. So the buy of the week.
Take it or leave it.
If you don't like it, I don't care. I don't. Buy of the week is Garrett Wilson. Now, I know you're sitting there saying, hey, I've started Garrett Wilson for 4 weeks now. And for 4 weeks, I have been whelmed at best. Look, he hasn't been fantastic. He's been putting up pedestrian numbers. He has had 1 touchdown. He has like 200 yards on the season, so he's only averaging like 50 yards a game. It's been, he hasn't killed you, but none of those games you've been excited about.
Not wide receiver 38.
I'm trying to find him.
Yeah,
he's 38.
There
man.
he is. There he is.
You know who he's tied with on the year?
I see him as 39, but all right.
Oh, I have him tied.
You're probably looking at standard again.
No, it's in PPR.
Oh,
I have a 38 tied with Quentin Johnston.
There we go.
Oh, look at you tying.
I don't have it tied. It's Fantasy Pros has him tied.
Anyway.
Well, on my screen on Fantasy Pros, he's number 39.
See, but here's
tied.
here's the thing. The anguish and the disgust that I hear from you guys is the exact reason it's the perfect time to buy, because most people feel that way. They say, Garrett, we have been waiting for 3 seasons. This is year 3 now. We have not been getting the return on the investment that we thought we were getting. Yes, you put up 1,000 yards, but you get like 3 touchdowns, and it's pretty underwhelming. Here's the thing. I think this is the perfect time to go out and buy, because there was the offseason hype with Aaron Rodgers is finally healthy.
Yep.
Everything's going to be good to go. First 4 weeks, it hasn't been good. But there's some pretty good reasons for that. Week 1, they went up against the San Francisco defense. Now, I'm going to give you the corners and how they've done against the other receivers other than Garrett Wilson. San Francisco, it's not really worth doing. They had 1 game where they gave up good amount of points to Justin Jefferson, but all the other teams they played, the Rams and the New England wide receivers, they're not good receivers.
Justin Jefferson is the best wide receiver.
The bestest of the rest.
Yeah, tier 1.
But San Francisco traditionally, good defense, good DBs. They do well against top receivers traditionally. Then he goes up against Tennessee, L'Jarius Sneed. He has given up. He faced DJ Moore, gave up 3 receptions for 36 yards. Jaden Reed.
Bad wide receiver. Go ahead.
Stop it. Jaden Reed, 4 receptions for 50 yards. Tyreek Hill, 4 receptions for 23 yards. Pat Surtain, he went up against DK Metcalf, 3 receptions for 29 yards. George Pickens, 2 receptions for 29 yards. And Mike Evans, 2 receptions for 17 yards.
Sick.
Christian Gonzalez, he went up against Jamar Chase, held him to 6 receptions for 62 yards. Then the only blemish on all of this is the 1 game against DK Metcalf. Christian Gonzalez gave up 10 receptions for 129 yards and a touchdown. 59 of those were on 1 big blown coverage. Right. So it happens. But, and then Brandon Ayuk, 2 receptions for 48 yards. So we have plenty of wide receiver 1 type players that have gone up against these same matchups that Garrett Wilson has gone up against these 4 weeks. These are the 4 teams that he played against. Same matchups, and these corners, and not just the corners, but the defense in general, the safety help, the linebackers, all of these things come together to say, hey, we are going to do everything we can to stop the top wide receiver, and they've done a fantastic job of it. That's who he's gone up against. So it's been really, really, really difficult defenses that he's gone up against. You add into the fact that Rodgers has already commented like, hey, once Five and I, which is Garrett Wilson, once Five and I get on the same page, like we're going to be good. Like
Alan Lazard.
There's better days ahead. We're going to be fine. And then the fact that he's still leading the team in target share with a 25% target share, which is a solid number. And it's a team that's passing the ball quite a bit, 10th most per game in the league. So all of the numbers line up that there are better days ahead. He still could easily finish as a wide receiver 1 this season. It would not surprise me to see him from this point on averaging 17, 18, 19 points per game. That would not shock me in the least. So if you are able to go out and make a move to go get a Garrett Wilson, I think this is the time to do it because it's been really difficult to acquire him otherwise. So if you can go out there and give a player that has performed well, let's say Zay Flowers, I know he had a bad week this week, but Zay Flowers in a first, I would do that for Garrett Wilson. If you could go out and give a DJ Moore in a second, I would do that for Garrett Wilson. I think these are the types of moves. Now, a player that normally isn't somebody you can acquire, I think he could easily be had. And look, you might even be able to do what looks like a downgrade. You know, maybe you have a guy that's played really well. Maybe you have a Nico Collins. Let's say Nico. He's been fantastic. You might even be able to get Garrett Wilson plus a good amount for a Nico Collins at this point. So those are the types of moves that I'm looking to make.
I tried I have no Garrett Wilson shares at all in all 25 of my leagues. He's one of my elusive players on the list. I got my first Justin Jefferson this year. So Garrett Wilson's on my list of players trying to acquire. I actually went through and offered teams that have Garrett Wilson. Most of the teams that have Garrett Wilson are actually losing teams in my leagues that I'm in.
Sure.
So like I have 2 leagues where I have Rashee Rice in those leagues.
Oh yeah.
And I offered Rashee Rice like straight up for Garrett Wilson. Thinking like, hey, they're going to get a player that's obviously better than Garrett Wilson from a fantasy football production.
I actually have Rashee Rice a spot ahead of him right now in my ranking.
In Dynasty. And then I get Garrett Wilson, and they get to keep losing, right? Because they're already like 0 for 1-3. This helps them lose, and they get a player that's so far statistically better. I was declined in every offer I made.
That surprises me, actually. Although,
Me too. But
yeah, especially if they're losing and they get Rice.
Yeah.
Like,
I thought
That's
the
a
same
loss-loss or a win-win. I
Right.
want to see that.
But when you look at, I mean, here's the thing, and I'm with you. Like, the talent's there. Like, he was the number 1 high school recruit, came out of Ohio State, played really well at Ohio State, was a very high draft pick. And for me, it just comes down to, like I said, when we were talking like Malik Neighbors, I brought Garrett Wilson's name up because we'll sit here and make excuses all day on Garrett Wilson, who's older than Malik Neighbors, and still give him a very high rank. For a player that, you know, if last year, where did he finish last year? Garrett Wilson last year was wide receiver 26 overall, averaged 12.5 points per game in PPR leagues last year. This year, I just mentioned he has 10.9 points. He's wide receiver 38 overall in PPR leagues. I'm sorry, he averages 10.9 points per game. So lower than last year. He's got Aaron Rodgers this time. Like, yeah, the target share is there, but like, at what point do we stop? And this is something for somebody, I didn't move him down drastically my ranks. But having him here as a buy, I agree. I tried to buy him for sure because like he's still young enough and the talent's there. I believe its days are brighter. But like, at what point are we going to stop making excuses for Garrett Wilson? Like I saw somebody made a good point. They're like, Garrett Wilson's the Kyle Pitts of wide receivers. And I was like, wow, that's pretty good.
I don't think it's that bad.
I don't think it's that bad because there's actual production there.
Right.
But I do get the point that person's trying to make, even though I think they probably went a little bit too far. And he has been a good player. He just has not been a great player. And for a guy that is, I think, this highly ranked, you're expecting a great player.
He's been more like Terry McLaurin the
Correct.
past 2 years as opposed to being Malik Neighbors.
Devontae Smith has smoked him.
Right. So, you know, you couple the fact that he's been a little bit underwhelming from a statistical standpoint. And then you add the fact that Devontae Adams, did you guys hear the news that just came out literally today?
Which means he's going to be traded.
That he's requested to be traded.
If it's out there for everyone to know.
Yeah. If the team finds says, hey, Schefter, can you put us out here? We're willing to take a second, which means he's going to go for a third. Then he's gone.
Yeah, he's good as gone. And do you think that the Jets are an unlikely place for him to go?
Oh, I would guess they're one of the top 5 destinations for him.
I would think so as well. So, I mean, you're talking a lot about target share and all that kind of stuff when it comes to Garrett Wilson. What happens when Devontae Adams, if he does come there, that target share is going to go way down. And I think you're going to be underwhelmed again, which is I
don't know that it would go down drastically.
It ain't going up anymore. I think his value is going. I moved him down my rankings.
I have him at 9.
If a move for Devontae Adams does happen, I will move Garrett Wilson down my ranks slightly because not that it's going to affect his long-term value because I still think he's a good player long-term, but for the next couple of years, he's going to be depressed a little bit as far as production in my eyes.
For me, and I could be dead wrong. I could be dead wrong, and I'd be willing to admit that if that happens. But if there were to be somebody like a Devontae Adams, and now Garrett Wilson is not playing against Pat Surtain, he's not playing against L'Jarius Sneed, he's not playing against these guys, like, good luck covering him. So to me, if that happens, even if he goes from 25 to 22 in target share, like, I think those would be much more effective targets, much more big plays. I wouldn't have any issue with it.
Listen, I love him too, but even the number 1 receiver, I said Alan Lazard's wide receiver 18 in this offense. It's not, with Hackett behind there, it's not a very sexy looking thing we're looking at. So for me, here's a name. I'm gonna give you Garrett Wilson a name, and saying it sounds disgusting, but I think it would at this point deserves very serious thought. And it's gonna sound gross, but here it is: Garrett Wilson. Brian Thomas Jr.
No.
Garrett
Wilson.
Yeah. It sounds gross. I agree. Like in my head, snap share, like, oh, Garrett Wilson.
To be fair, I've never been super high on Brian Thomas compared to other people.
He's looked really good in this offense so far. He's 4 games in. It's only 4 games in.
He's been fine.
Fine. He scored double-digit points every game except for 1.
14.5 points. So, I mean, like.
No, he has 14. He's averaging 14.5 points.
That's what I just said. He has 14.5 points.
Average.
Per game. Yes.
Well,
we're saying the same thing.
No, you said he has 14.5 points. You should say he's averaging 14.5 points.
He's wide receiver 14.
If you're going to speak correct.
He's got 57 and 57.8 points.
Look at this guy talk.
And 14.5 average points per game.
I understand what you're saying.
Yeah. I'm not leaving anything out there to be ambiguous.
I'm going to go over there and tickle you.
Listen, can we pause this whole conversation for a
Sure.
second? Because Rich talked about Garrett Wilson, then he talked about Terry McLaurin, and it just got me talking about.
He talked about Terry.
He just got me talking. It got me thinking about Ohio State wide receivers and Jeremiah Smith, dude. Did you guys watch this past weekend's game,
dude?
That kid is 18 years old.
Must tank in 20.
Kid is 18 years old.
You see Ryan Williams doing the same type of stuff for Alabama?
I didn't get a chance to watch that, but dude, the Jeremiah Smith.
Come out of the same class.
Yes.
Oh my God, dude.
Dude, after the second one-handed catch, I
was watching that game by myself, and I'm yelling, "Oh my God!" out loud in my house. Like people came, my wife came running in the room. My son's like, "What happened? What's going on?" I'm like, "You guys gotta watch this replay. This is amazing." He's
the greatest player alive.
It was insane, dude.
One of the people I went to Vegas with was one of my original Dynasty League members, 20 years. And we watched that. He's like, dude, where do you think he would go in Dynasty? I was like, oh, he'd be the 1-1 now. I was like, he'd be a better prospect than Marvin Harrison Jr. He'll probably lead the best prospect since, like, if not equal to Calvin Johnson, possibly even better than Calvin Johnson, who's the greatest prospect.
He looks so polished.
So good. He's like, so what do you think of him? I was like, well, here's what I think. I was like, I know 100% next year in any league that I am not remotely close in, I was like, this year I know for 2024 will be like, you're gonna
have to wait longer than that, Rich. He's not until the 2027 class.
2024? Oh, I thought it was
next year's 25, and then there's another 26. It's in between.
Yeah, we don't get until 27.
I said all I know is for 2027, I will have my team set up to absolutely be horrendously horrendous. in that league.
Horrendously horrendous.
But then you're
I'm already planning it right now.
Ryan Williams is the second best out. Like that class is already set up to be
very good.
It's on my calendar. Like 2026 is the year of
He doesn't
suck.
He doesn't even have a 2025 calendar, but he has a 2026 one to remind him to suck.
Suck for 2027.
Dude, I'm going to blow up so many teams where it's going to be like, it's just impossible for me not to get to 1-1. Like, I'm just going to, hey, I'm going to trade everything for, like, I don't want your 20, like, I'm going to start working the Magic in 25. So I suck in 26 and then get all the 27 first.
There you go.
Hey, skip a year. Dude, I'm all in. Dude, he looks unbelievable.
Dude.
All right, let's get to our.
Sorry to sidetrack.
No, you're good. He's fantastic.
That needed to be said. It just popped in my head.
By Garrett Wilson, but like I'm a little. It's been again. How long are we going to keep playing this game?
Which is why you can buy.
Agree. And I still want. I tried to buy him. I'm still in, but it's like, man, that's you're taking all the risk. Maybe. Rashee Rice straight up.
I do have Rice one spot ahead. I have Rice at 8. I have Garrett Wilson at 9.
Okay, so you would take Rice.
So I would take Rice. Okay. Even with missing the time. All right, let's get to our sell of the week.
Don't give a shit who you're gonna take.
Were you gonna say something? Did I just cut you off?
He's gonna tell you who he's gonna take.
That's all right.
He was like, "Mom's the worst."
You don't get to.
Let's go.
Nope. You don't get to decide. All right, who would you take?
No, it's the moment's over. Let's go.
All right, sell of the week.
Son of a bitch, give me the likeometer.
Rich, we've got 3 options here. Which one did we go with?
So the options here for sell of the week were DeAndre Swift, Christian Kirk, and Rico Dowdle. We all had a different pick there.
We did end up, but I think we settled on one. We settled on one.
And then I said a guy, and we settled on him.
We did.
Well, I'd misheard and thought the
I
guy
mispronounced.
the guy that we picked was somebody else.
He thought it was Rico Waddle.
Waddle. All I got was a last name, and
he's like, "Was that Tua news? He's out." We're like, "What?"
That's a weird time to sell, but I mean, to each his own.
Uncle Rico threw over the mountain. Why do you worry about Tua? We set on Rico Dowdle as a sell of the week because after this week came out, scored double-digit points. It looks like he's really settled in here as the running back 1 for the Dallas Cowboys. Zeke looks washed. He's getting spell carries at this point.
Yep.
We'll see what's going to go down the future for a team that's desperately going to try and be relevant, try to make the playoffs. It looks like Rico Dowdle is locked in as the running back 1 there.
Yep.
Viable in the passing game, viable in the running game there. Only had the 1 target, but the temps are there. And as the Cowboys actually start getting ahead in some of these game scripts, I mean, he's probably going to put up higher production.
Can I ask you guys like a broader question? What the hell do you guys think Jerry was trying to do with this team? This team feels so disjointed this year that it feels like they got no plan. The coach is on a hot seat in the last year of his deal. He doesn't give him a running back. Like, there's not a real legitimate running back on this team.
There's not. And he even said, like, oh, we couldn't afford Derrick Henry.
Yeah.
Like, okay, but you could have afforded drafting Braylon Allen in the 3rd or 4th round.
Dude, it makes no sense.
I mean, Brandon Cooks is a good player, but I mean, the wide receiver 3 there stinks. I mean, I don't know, man. It just seems like you're giving an offensive coach his last year and you're not giving him anything.
I don't know if he was so
like, just get rid of him and clear the house. Like,
why is he being so cheap is the best question. Like, he's being super cheap when they have listen, if you have an owner that is cash rich, like the Browns,
right?
Like the Eagles, these owners that are willing to put up the cash, because when you sign a player to an extension, all the guaranteed money has to go into escrow. The reason the Browns have all these high end players and they could extend the contracts out because they could pay. Jimmy hasn't paid $1 billion in cash for all these contracts. Mm-hmm. Same thing the Eagles do. It's why the Raiders couldn't never do that. It's why the Steelers have a hard time doing it. The Bengals have a hard time doing it. When you have these owners that aren't cash rich, right? They're value rich.
All their stuff is tied up in their assets.
And I can't imagine Jerry, who bought a team for X amount of dollars, now worth 1,000 times more than we bought it for, the only team that has its own deal for merchandise outside the league, so he gets more cash influx, sits here and talks and nickels and dimes these players, which he ends up paying more money for in the long run anyways. End up paying Dak way more money than they had to pay him last year. Yeah. Same with CD if you get ahead of it. He's sitting there and it annoys you because you're right. He makes Derrick Henry, we couldn't afford Derrick Henry. Yes, you can. Yes, you could have. And you're right. You have this team that's supposed to be a playoff contender. You put Derrick Henry in that team. Your team's no longer chasing points or trying to get ahead.
Right.
You're in a good spot. And he's playing this money game. Dude, you have the money. Don't tell me you can't afford anybody. It's the NFL. If you have the cash, you can manipulate the contracts to keep moving forward and contend easily.
Absolutely.
You could have gave Dak Prescott a massive signing bonus, and been done with it.
It just doesn't make sense to me. That's
Doesn't
why I
make
wanted
sense.
to bring it up. We're talking about Rico Dowdle, and I don't know how the heck I got off on this tangent, but in my brain, I'm going, how the hell did this guy end up a starting running back for the Cowboys in this situation?
And that's why he's the sell of the week, because people are getting a little bit excited about it. He's getting a little bit of buzz. He just played a nationally televised game, did well in the game. And look, I know we shouldn't get too excited about second round picks, but this is a very good class, specifically at the running back position. Give me the 5th, 6th, 7th running back in this class over this guy any day of the week. So
agreed. Yeah. I think that makes him a good sell. And just the fact that next year's class is a good running back class, they have to hit the reset button at this position.
Every mock draft I've seen, every single one has the Cowboys taking Ashton Genty.
I mean, they should. I don't know that they will.
Neither do I. I'm saying everyone
They
has
should. Genty looks
unbelievable, dude.
amazing, dude.
I haven't seen any of him.
Just what would you think a good running back? How many touchdowns do you think he would have through 4 games? A good running back.
Four games in college? I mean, you can go pretty nuts. Maybe 8, 9.
How about 13?
Dude, he just bounces off people.
Dude,
13.
He's he's played a couple of lower tier schools, but he also played Oregon, a top 10 ranked team.
Shredded him.
He has 600-700 yards,
Dude.
800 yards. I don't even I'll have to look up his exact stats, but
he looks unreal.
he's been nuts. He's been.
It's gonna be such a good
nuts.
class. So yeah, the Cowboys didn't get him. So Rico Dowdle, you get for the right team, you should be able to get a second round pick for Rico Dowdle.
And I'm all for selling if that's the price or the return.
Oh geez, I was too low. 82 carries for 845 yards.
Oh my God.
And 13 touchdowns. He's averaging 10.
I was gonna say that's over 10 yards a carry. I can do that, man.
10.3 yards a carry. Oh my goodness, he's been unreal.
He's doing it after contact.
A lot of it after contact,
full multiple hands on him. It's gross.
And he's catching some passes too. He hasn't done a ton with his passes, and I actually broke down his tape the other day because I'm doing a little bit of that and getting ahead of it. He's actually surprisingly good in pass pro too. He's got a military background, so he's got this workman mentality.
Yeah,
and he just dude, he looks so good.
Dude, next year's top end of the class is gonna be good.
It's sexy.
Burden, McMillan.
Yep. And like I
So
said,
if you need running backs, start doing bad.
and these quarterbacks are starting to come around. All of them, none of them have face planted. All of them have at least been solid. And we've had a couple like Cam Ward out of Miami who's been
Heisman
balling.
favorite, right?
Yeah, he's been balling. And he's doing it a little bit with his legs, but it's mostly his arm. He looks really good.
So we should have Sanders,
Beck, maybe Jalen Milroe at this point.
Ewers,
and
then Cam Ward.
Exactly. So we could have another 5 quarterback.
5 QBs in the first
round class.
1 first round running back.
I think Genty will go in the first round.
At least couple receivers in Burden, McMillan.
And then if Travis Hunter plays receiver,
Travis Hunter.
And then probably maybe Emeka Buka. He's kind of on the fringe.
He's looked pretty good.
Isaiah Bond is another one that'll probably go in the first round. He's Xavier Worthy clone. Actually transferred from Alabama to Texas.
Colston Loveland at tight end.
Yep. So it's going to be a good first
class. Round. Yeah. Exciting. We even mentioned all the other running backs like Alec Gordon, Quinshon Judkins, Travion Henderson. All of them look
Omarion
fantastic.
Hampton looks amazing for UNC.
Yeah.
Dude, he's a tank.
Can't wait.
He's a tank. He's my type of guy. I love watching
Buy
him.
first.
All right. I don't know how we got from.
I've been doing it. It's been great.
I don't know how we got from the sell of the week to that, but
I got us off the rails twice today.
Look at you.
Yeah.
Look at you, the
It's
new
his
Rich
freshman
Dotson.
year, and we've mentioned Jeremiah Smith twice on this show already.
Yeah, well, and rightfully so.
Well, because you're Ohio State hummers. You're damn right.
Done and
Go
done.
watch the tape.
Yeah, go watch that guy play.
But to be
You're
fair-
going to be a fan too.
Ryan Williams, only 17 years old out of Alabama.
He looks the part too,
Balling.
man.
balling.
I didn't watch
Tank
that
for 2027.
I didn't watch that game, but
he scored
from
a
what
win-
you
dude,
guys said, he
scored a winning touchdown versus Georgia. He went and
I'll
like
show you the highlight after.
it was like a matrix move in midair. Like,
Body control level
like,
10.
Yeah, like body control level 10. Caught the ball and was able to like
Spin, stop.
he was going out of bounds. Like so much where the defenders like overran him, going out of bounds, and torqued himself back inbounds, and then made a crazy jump move to the ends. Dude, it was
Sexy.
unbelievably too, dude.
I can't wait to see it.
He's
Let's get this show.
He's 17 years old.
Apparently, this is the Devi College show.
Dude, 2027. Multiple first, super tank. I'm selling. If people are like, why is
Super
Rich everybody
tank.
on his roster in 2026? And I'm like, oh, the Mr. Burns looking excellent.
Rich is finally going to have draft picks that year.
Dude, the hardest league trade. I've got 3 firsts. Look at me.
The classes are all looking pretty good because 26 has a lot of the quarterbacks too. That's so
Archie Mann will Archie Mann be in 27 probably too, right? No, he'll be in 26.
26. And Nico, I can't think of his last name, how to pronounce it, but from Tennessee, he looks really good too.
Okay.
He'll be in the 26 class. So yeah, there's bright days ahead.
Dude,
Bright days ahead.
all that rookie talk has got me a little lightheaded.
Hey, Nerd Herd, Dynasty Nerds has an incredible new offer from Underdog Fantasy for new customers. When you sign up as a new customer, you'll get a chance at their new customer free pick. But that's not all. Underdog is also offering incredible deposit bonuses. Use the promo code NERDS when you first sign up, and Underdog will give you up to $1,000 in bonus cash with your first deposit. That's right, $1,000 to kickstart your fantasy football journey. Don't miss out on this fantastic opportunity. Head over to UnderdogFantasy.com or download the Underdog app. Sign up today with promo code NERDS and start your journey to fantasy football glory today. Must be 18, 19 plus in Alabama and Nebraska, 21 plus in Massachusetts and Arizona, and present in a state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. Concerned with your play? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.ncpgambling.org. In Arizona, call 1-800-NEXT-STEP. In New York, call 1-877-8-HOPE-NY. And in Tennessee, call 1-800-889-9789.
Let's move down to our last segment of the day.
The likely, aka the Isaiah likely O-meter.
Yeah.
And we've got a few that we want to get through here. Let's start with this one. We sort of alluded to it in the first show, but give me the likely O-meter that Sam Darnold finishes the season as a top 8 quarterback. Currently, he might have moved down a spot. He was 4. I don't know if Goff moved out or not. Okay, so he's currently quarterback 4. Give me the likely O-meter that he finishes as a top 8 quarterback.
Well, the guys behind him, Josh Allen, Justin Fields, Dak Prescott, Geno Smith, Jalen Hurts is at 9, Kyler Murray at 10. Some of those guys, I mean, specifically Murray and Hurts
And
Allen.
4-point differential between him and Hurts. Current quarterback 8. He's quarterback 4. Hurts is 8. There's a 4-point differential between the two, so 1 point per game.
I mean, those are the guys that he has to kind of keep down, I think, to stay up there. And obviously, Mahomes is down at 15, who could string together some stuff
At any point, yep.
Yeah, and kind of.
Oh wait, hold on. I'm on week 3.
Get above. I wasn't.
going
I
to
wasn't.
week 3.
I wasn't sure what you were talking about.
Yeah, I apologize.
Just gonna let you just keep talking. So quarterbacks, quarter points.
Quarterbacks, quarter points.
I am gonna say it is a 7.25.
So you feel pretty good that he's going to finish as a top 8 guy.
I like what he's dealing right now.
He's been playing well, 15 or more points every single week, 20 per game over the past 3.
Baker's ahead of him, and that's a guy that I could see kind of drifting down a little bit as well. So
Okay, loser. I'm gonna see Josh Allen falling off after last week. That's Josh Allen, 2 points, 2 games this year with games under 10 points.
And 2 games with over 30.
yeah,
Wowzers in my trousers. All right. I will give this a solid 7. I feel pretty good about him being steady. He's looked pretty steady right now. When you're looking at points across the board, outside of his name's not Jaden Daniels and Lamar Jackson and Baker. No, not even Baker. He's been probably the most consistent quarterback on this group, scoring points. And he's got right now quarterback 8, Geno Smith with 72 points. He's got 81. So he's got a 10-point lead there. Guys behind him that could possibly, I think they could sneak up into that field would be Jalen Hurts, Kyler Murray, CJ Stroud, maybe Brock Purdy. That's it. So I think he's pretty comfortable in this offense. I think Kevin O'Connell's done a really good job making the system and the offense work around Sam Darnold. I think getting TJ Hockenson back healthy will help him out 100% more as well. So actually, I'm going to go this up to a 7.75 for Sam Darnold. I think he's going to be pretty good. I think he's going to get a good contract next year and be the starter for somebody else. Well, I think he's a good buy.
Would you take him in Cleveland?
Would I take him in Cleveland? Deshaun Watson looked pretty good that last game. So
would you take him in Cleveland?
Yes, but Deshaun Watson looked pretty good.
See, senor. All right.
I had a 7 on this one.
Is he not a pervert? Yeah, I'll take him.
He's played really well. I'm still not convinced if he keeps this up, and he really is a top 5 fantasy quarterback, which means he's obviously producing in real life. This team is a 12-win team. They go deep-ish in the playoffs. Like, that's a hard one to just say, like,
all right, see you later.
See ya.
We got this young guy who's never played.
We got a rookie.
That is hard, man.
That's tough to do.
I made a comment to him that Nick Foles did it and won a Super Bowl as MVP, and they were like, they had Carson Wentz behind him.
You brought that up 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, they're like,
it's true.
Okay, see ya. Yeah. See ya, Sam.
Yep.
See ya, Nick. I just think
every team's different, though, man. Every team's different.
But remember, the main point I made, too, is it's not about them wanting him back. It's about whether Sam's willing to come back.
Let's look at the opposite side. Let's look at the opposite side, though. The Brock Purdy situation. They had the draft pick in Trey Lance, and they said, "No, we're gonna stick with Brock Purdy."
But they didn't have to pay Brock Purdy in there. That's the point.
Sure,
you got to pay Sam Darnold. Meanwhile, you don't.
To what level? Like, you're not going to pay him top 10 money.
Okay, the Tennessee Titans will be probably willing to pay him.
You think somebody's going to be willing to pay him top 10 money if he does that?
I think the Tennessee Titans might be willing to pay him. There's a chance that Indianapolis Colts could be willing to pay him. I think, what else is on here? Las Vegas, they don't have the right draft pick, might be willing to pay him.
Vegas for sure would. Come on.
The Rams, potentially, if Matt Stafford just up and retires, the Rams.
Obviously, we know he's a fit for that scheme.
Yeah, could be in that system. I'm trying to.
We'll see. I don't know. I'm not convinced that they just say adios.
There's not a lot of options, and you're right. But like, to me, it just comes down to they had the first round pick. For him to go back there, it has to be a 2-way street. And I think it's to be more of a Sam Darnold decision to move on. That would be the Vikings.
Okay,
like
that's fair.
Same thing I said before. Like what you said makes sense. I just think like, how much more money can the Vikings offer Sam Darnold when they already invested a first round pick in J.J. McCarthy? They want to see. Compared to like a team that,
and if it's a team like the Rams, like I could see him doing that. But I would think after all of his experiences on bad teams, that he's going to say, "I know I fit in this scheme. I don't know that I fit in other schemes."
Yeah, but how safe does he even feel with a first round pick, a top 12 first round pick right behind him, breathing down his neck?
Depending on the contract.
They trade up one spot to get him. They like him. He's 21. I'm just saying. It just
we'll see.
Of course, it makes sense, but like the NFL GMs and stuff, like that doesn't make as much sense. I just don't think it works out from both sides of the field. I guess. All right. What did you give it? I gave it a 7.75. You gave it a 7.5.
7.25. You gave it a 7.75. I gave it a 7.5.
Okay, cool.
I give him and a half. Pat Mahomes is not a top 8 quarterback. He's currently quarterback 14, and he has not scored more than 20 points since week 12
of last year.
Because not of this year.
That hasn't happened this year.
He has not week 12
of last year.
Write it down. He's not scoring 20 points.
And on top of that, I mean, he scored 3 consecutive games last year of over 20 points to start the season, and he only did it 2 more times after that. It was week 7 and week 12. That's it. I give this Pat Mahomes being a top 8 quarterback and finishing the
saying way. He is not a top 8 quarterback.
Yeah. What are the odds at? I'm giving this a 9. What is the quarterback? We do quarters, right?
Yep. You can do quarter points.
9.25.
It's real high. You do not.
I do not think he's going to come. They just lost Rashee Rice right there. So maybe they trade for Devontae Adams, maybe, but like he'd fill the Rice role, and Rice has been dominated. He's still not doing it. He's just not producing at a high level. He's winning NFL games, which is what matters. They're getting ahead of teams too, so it's changing the game script too. They've been actually like rolling some teams as well, which kind of hurts, and I think that continues as well because they have a really good defense. It's again, this comes to a situation where the player itself is elite, the best in NFL, in my opinion.
No doubt.
Quarterback.
Yep.
But when it comes to fantasy football production, it's just not on equal level planes of other play. You know, these teams that are trailing are throwing the football a ton. Guys that have the rushing ability. I think it all plays into it. And the fact that now we're over a year and a quarter into it and kind of seeing what Mahomes has been giving us in this new Chiefs offense of where it's going, I think him being top 8 is pushing it. Now, if he was like, oh, him finish as a quarterback 1, I'd probably be like, not finish as a quarterback 1, I'd probably be like 5, 50-50. But top 8, I'm putting at 9.25. I don't see it happening. He'd have to start coming up here at a very high level because where he is right now at quarterback 16, he's averaging 15.4 points per game. We're asking him to average over 3 points more per game at the quarterback, and he'd have to jump just to get in the top 5 or top 8. He needs another 20-something points per game. And losing Rice makes me feel so much less confident.
Sure.
They bring Kareem Hunt back in, who's more of a ground and pound guy the second half of the career. Losing a guy like Pacheco hurts as well. So for me, like everything's going against Pat Mahomes to make this better. Where I've already been, like if we were just having a conversation with Rashee Rice, like where we had on Pat Mahomes, like man, he's just not getting it done lately from a high level where he's
Sure,
ranked.
for fantasy.
So 9.25.
I think, yeah, this is going to be tricky because obviously there's some new pieces to this puzzle and all that kind of stuff that they're trying to work in, midstream here. Obviously, Worthy's one of these guys that just came in the draft, and now they're trying to reacclimate kind of Kareem Hunt into this system. So it might take a little bit to kind of right the ship, but I do think he's got a shot. I don't think it's a great shot of getting back up to 8. But I'll give it like, oh wait, I'm doing the opposite. I'll say like 4.25. I mean, that he stays out of the top 8. So my confidence isn't super duper high.
So you should be higher. The question is that he is not a top 8 guy.
That's why I was at 9.25.
Right. So 6.25.
Okay.
You're kind of confident he's going to get there.
That's what I'm trying to portray. I think it's still within his realm of possibilities because he's that good of a player. And I know I didn't really say that eloquently, but that's what I meant by that. I think it's within the realm of possibilities that he can do it. There are a lot of things that maybe the next 2 or 3 weeks that are going to look ugly. Mm-hmm. But if it clicks with him and Worthy at any time, that thing can go nuts.
I can't even say the word eloquent, let alone say
you did good there.
Words eloquently.
You nailed
2 for 2.
Yeah, you hit it.
Crushed it. I'm going to be the lowest in this group, which means I'm the highest on Mahomes. I have this at a 5. He, in his entire career, has never been outside of the top 8. He's finished every season. He's had 2 at 8 exactly. That was 2023 and 2019. Those 2 seasons he finished at 8. Every other season was better than, obviously. He's finished his QB1 overall twice. And the reason I still think that this could be the case is just look at last year or the year before. They didn't have anybody. It was Travis Kelce.
Yep.
And we're back to just Travis Kelce.
He's gone now.
No, he's still here. Don't do that to him.
I did it.
Don't do that.
One game and get out of me.
Hey, he got 15.9 points. And we know that injuries are going to happen.
Yep.
So there'll be 1 or 2 guys in here, unfortunately, that'll sustain something.
Yep.
That'll boost him up. He has a couple hot games. Like, look, am I going to guarantee it? No, I didn't put it at a 1 or anything like that. But I think it's just as likely that he has a hot 3 or 4 game streak and puts him right back up in there as it is that he doesn't. And he just kind of maintains this fringe quarterback 1, quarterback 2 type thing that he's doing right now.
I mean, Daniel Jones looked good for 2 quarters.
Let's not put them in the same
Maybe like
category.
Not the same
I was watching that game and I put a tweet out. I was like, man, Daniel Jones is looking good today. And literally after I hit send that tweet, he didn't look good the rest of the day.
Were you in Vegas when you did send that?
I think so.
Yeah.
I think
everything
so.
turned sour there that you touched.
Yeah, I drink a lot of vodka sodas, man.
All right, let's go to this one here.
Just give them to me for free.
Where we have the Isaiah Likely-O-meter that we do not have a tight end average 14 or more points per game. Now, the reason I put it at this mark is because every year in the past decade plus, we have had at least one tight end, if not multiple tight ends, typically multiple tight ends, over 14 points per game. So this would be the first season that we do not have a single one hit the 14 points per game threshold, fellas.
Last year there were 3.
Right now there's currently 1.
Yeah, right now there's just George Kittle.
And then 1's real close in Goddard with 13.5.
But we would expect him to probably dip because part of that's been with A.J. Brown and Smith
but dude,
gone.
at the opposite spectrum, once Devontae Adams gets out of Vegas like I just did.
Brock Bowers
skyrockets
That's
to wide
true.
receiver
To the
1.
moon.
Sees 50% target share, and he averages
50%.
I'm going to give this
Historic levels.
I'm going to give this a 3.
Okay, so you think somebody figures it out and gets that?
I mean, there's already somebody there now.
Kittle's there. Goddard, like you said, 13.5. So I think it's pretty fudge. The rest of these guys look so bad. No one's got a shot.
I think Kittle and Bowers has a shot.
No, I mean, any one of these guys could get hot. We're only
It's one
4 games.
30-point game
Yeah.
to really jump all these guys.
I mean, Travis Kelce could somehow end up all the way back up. there.
Isaiah Likely only 8.9 points per game. Probably still has a shot.
McBride can get there.
It just needs another one of those 30-point games.
Jake Ferguson's at 10-6, so he hasn't been horrible.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Yeah, Jake Ferguson's flirting with that a little bit there. Had that one dud game. Outside that one dud game, the first game.
And he was banged up that game. That was a game he left due to injury.
Yep.
Yeah, so I give this a 3.
Okay.
How do I have to? Which way do I? What is the questioning? How do we?
The wording here
We do not have a tight end average
that we
14
do not have a tight
air
end.
points.
All right. I'm gonna say tight ends. Keep it tight. 4. It's got to be a full number.
Got to be a full number.
I'm gonna go 4.
Okay. We'll keep the ladder going. I had it at a 5. I think this is another one that's a real toss up for me. You're right. If Adams leaves, Brock Bowers I think is the most likely one to hit this. Although obviously after 2 games and we crowned him, he decided to do what all the tight ends have done this year and put up doo-doo butter games. And that's why I wanted to go higher. Or I wanted to go the direction you guys went a little more, but this year's just been so bad.
I hate tight ends.
It's just been so bad. And there's a reason that like all of them couldn't do it. Like Goddard, it's because of A.J. Brown and Smith.
Sure.
George Kittle. Every year we see him have these peaks and valleys. Like he could easily not. Brock Bowers, what if Adams never gets traded?
What if Adams never gets traded? What if their quarterbacks just stink all year?
Yeah. Like
Skipping balls to him all
Travis
year.
Kelce, what if he really is just washed at this point and he's just not the same guy?
Yes.
He's not. Stop it. So that's the hard part. That's why I can't do this with more confidence. So I'm at a 5.
5 is.
I gave it a very solid 3. I was like, I could probably give this a 2. It's going to happen. I'm willing to existence. I love these tight ends too much.
I love him too much.
Dalton Kincaid.
I think
Come
we'll
on,
skip this
buddy.
next one because we already talked about him quite a bit. I don't think we need to talk about CMC anymore.
Nah.
Well, can we just score it?
We'll just score it real quick.
No commentary. CMC plays for your team in a regular fantasy season. So a 10 would be like you feel very confident.
Yep.
4.
2.5.
You stole my 2.
All right, you can keep it. I took a half.
All right, I'll take 2.
The reason it's 4 is like week 14,
15,
13.
yeah.
No, that's playoffs.
Oh, yeah, 15, 16, 17 playoffs.
Yeah, so I'm like
14.
I'm like, I could see week 13, 14 right around there.
Dude,
maybe
when they're
coming back.
talking about a second one now, I'm like, we're not seeing this guy.
And was he
again.
Dorothy from like Wizard of Oz? He tapping his heel. Like, how's it move to the leg?
I have no
How do
idea.
you, like,
Magic.
I don't
stub
know.
one toe, my other toe starts to hurt all of a sudden.
But it doesn't sound good, man.
How do you get Achilles tendon? First of all, I never even heard of Achilles tendonitis until he got it, and then all of a sudden, like, abracadabra. Now you got. They said you go to Germany.
Boom. Second one. When in Rome,
All right.
as they say.
That's Italy, but
they
okay.
say. All right. Michael Penix.
We were supposed to give no analysis. I was trying not to give analysis.
Oh yeah, you're
He
right.
can't help it. He's not built
Come
that way.
on, tell us about Michael Penix.
All right. Michael Penix starts over Kirk Cousins in a meaningful game this year.
Kirk hasn't looked great, huh?
He's been not super.
I guess it's a 5.25.
Okay. Well, yeah, quarterbacks can do quarter points. Yeah.
Points. Kirk hasn't looked great, but it's only 4 games in of him coming off Achilles. He's gotten better over these games. And right now, the Falcons are 2-2, so they're not like a losing team. Like if they were like 1-3 or 0-4, I'm like, yeah, this is like
that also wouldn't be meaningful games.
That's true.
Yeah. So, but anyways, I think it's like a 5. Like the fact he gets in is like a meaningful game, like wouldn't be until like they're out of it. So in that division, I'm thinking of 5.25 because I think Bijan can get better hopefully, and so can Drake London. Kyle Pitts can actually catch a football.
I mean, I think the way you worded that Michael Penix starts over
in a
Kirk
meaningful
Cousins
game. What
in
I
a
meant by that is basically like they're still playing for something. They're not out of it.
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
The wording of that makes it Kirk has to be doing
Bad enough
bad
to be
enough, and the other pieces around him have to be good enough that they are like, we need a quarterback change to get this thing or keep this thing afloat. I mean, I have a hard time. I think it's going to be a low number, like probably 2 for me.
Okay.
Because I just think that scenario playing out is, I don't see that happening.
You're right. The more I read into the words here, I'm going to go down to a 3.25.
Oh, that was my number. 3.25.
I read your mind. I learned in
that.
Vegas. Yeah.
Ooh, abracadabra. With that, just real quickly, we haven't talked about Michael Penix much at all. Is he somebody that would be an interesting player to go buy right now?
Yeah, 100%. We loved his tape.
Mm-hmm.
He went top 10 NFL draft. When we were breaking down tape, we're like, remember, we were kind of flabbergasted. Like, how does this guy, like, how do people in the
not
mock
like him
draft
more?
have him in the second round? Like, this is a first round quarterback. Like, we talked about him being a great value in Superflex drafts because, like, every mock draft had him in the second. We're like, dude, this is like a first round quarterback. And then he went top 10, and we're like, holy shit kebabs. Like, this guy is real good value. So I think he's a tremendous buy. The fact that he probably went in the second round of most of your leagues, too, makes him, like, a good buy. Like, this might be to the point, like, depending on class next year, like, if you're a contender, you can get him for, like, a late first. Like,
And that was the question I was going to ask. Like, would you be willing to give pick 11, 12 if you were a guy that you're like, I have older quarterbacks?
Yes. I don't even care about younger quarterbacks. Yes. 100%. Because now we're 1 year step. We're way close. 2 things. One, we're closer to him start playing. Because listen, he's going to play. You don't spend a top 10 pick.
He's going to have an
a
opportunity.
top 8 pick on somebody, and they don't play at some point. Like, even if it's the Jordan Love move, right? Like, gotta wait. Like,
that's what I was going to
3
say.
years.
This feels like a Jordan Love conversation. Like, we had real similar stuff.
Big difference between that though is when Jordan Love was there, Aaron Rodgers was winning NFL MVP.
Of course, that's what I was.
Kirk Cousins hasn't looked as good.
Right.
So I'm saying he's 100% worth the first because that next year draft class, you'll probably be able to play Michael Penix next year.
Well, I in our Superflex league drafted Love, in the second, and then traded him for a first, and now I regret it.
Right.
At the time, I felt great about it. Now I totally regret it. I wish I would have held on to him. So I mean,
but even though you made a profit, like you still made a profit,
absolutely.
But yeah, you could have made a much.
What's an
bigger
overpay today is an underpay tomorrow, baby.
But to your point, if you were to make that kind of move, I think you'd be happy with the end result. It might just be
In 2 years.
delayed.
Yeah.
Yep.
And that's why we all drafted him a good amount in our drafts this year because we're willing to wait because we know long term it's going to pay.
Dude, we signed our names at the bottom of the contract. This is Dynasty.
Blood.
Right? Like, you have to, like, these are the games and moves you make. It's a game of patience just as much as it's not.
Next startup I'm doing, I'm sending out actual contracts. I'm doing it.
You should.
It would be fun. A wax seal and everything.
Yeah. You got to sign, like, I need a 5-year commitment.
5 years.
Or what if you had to join Dynasty League and you had to sign a legal notarized document?
Oh my god!
And it said,
I could hold them to it. Hold their feet to the fire.
If you don't play for 5 years, you owe, for every year you miss out on, you owe that buy-in for the future team. So if you left after year 2,
you have to pay everyone's.
You owe 3 more years. Like, so that everybody's buying.
I'm doing a league review. They do something I've never heard this. And maybe it's more common than I realized. There's a league out there that if you get last place in your league, you have to pay the buy-in of the league winner next year. I was like,
wow,
I kind of like that.
I like that rule.
That's like a little extra incentivization.
So that they win the pot and a free buy-in.
And the free buy-in. And like, that's a little like anti-tanking there thing. Like, you're going to,
I want to lose, but I just want to finish 1-2.
Right.
I mean, to be fair, it depends on the league buy-in's $20.
Right.
I'm like, yeah, here you go.
It's $250 though.
Yeah, give me Caleb Williams, give me Jane Daniels.
You're doing
$250.
You're doing everything not to tank and
Right.
You're like
that,
really trying to
I
work
was like, I
1-2.
kind of like that rule.
I do like that rule.
I might incorporate that somewhere.
You know what rule I like that's come pretty popular to Scott Fish has done over the years that I haven't done a league with? Like, I really like that, the point per first down rule.
I've done that more. Jared likes that in his league, so we play in quite a few leagues together. So he does that quite a bit. And
first downs are worth something in the NFL.
I know.
They really
you could
are.
argue they're more valuable than a catch.
Yeah. for sure.
So I think next year, because I'll for sure do a Nerd Herd startup league. Heads up, Nerd Herd. I do it every year. I do a new startup league. I got rid of a league this year. It folded.
Really?
Old industry league. One of really old.
Oh,
industry league.
industry leagues, that happens sometimes.
Yeah, that folded. So I was like, cool. Gives me another chance to do a startup next year. And I was thinking about that, and I was like, okay, I've really enjoyed the two new leagues I did. The two Nerd Herd leagues I've done this year were the Nerds Best Ball, which I also love the Best Ball league. Like,
it's nice not having to worry about setting the lineup.
Oh, and I love it. And it's so those two leagues are 2 points per reception.
Okay.
And boy.
For the tight ends?
Yeah.
Just for the tight ends. Yeah.
Boy, well, you're in an anniversary league.
Yeah.
Boy, does that make a difference.
Well, this year doesn't make that much of a difference if they're only catching 2 passes.
No, it does.
It does, actually.
Yeah, it makes a big, like guys like Zach Ertz, Colby Park, like they're scoring 14, 15 points per game. You get a good tight end, they're scoring like
I do have a lot of Colby Parkinson this year.
So, like, I think for sure, though, next year, like, double points tight ends, points per first down. Extra points per first down.
Brock Bowers is a first rounder in that league.
I know, but extra points per first down for running backs.
Nice. All right, let's get to our last one.
Crazy.
Last one here. We will have 2 rookies finish as top 6 wide receivers. Malik, obviously, he's wide receiver 1 right now. And Marvin Harrison Jr., we just talked about it. I said he was 5, but we had a couple guys jump ahead. So he's actually wide receiver 7 over the past 3 weeks. So likelihometer on these guys both being top 6 wide receivers.
Wide open. 4.125.
3.69.
Okay, so you guys don't feel super confident that Marv ends up, because we feel pretty confident Neighbors is going to do it, right?
Very confident.
But it's more about Marvin Harrison. So we're not sold that he's going to be top 6 this year.
No, top 6 is so tough to get into. It's so elite.
I think he's 13. He dropped all the way to 13.
Yeah, he's currently wide receiver 13.
No. Sorry, from week 2 on.
Yeah, from week 2 on.
He was 7.
Sure.
Because he had that 1.4 the first week.
But he is 13 right now.
Right, yeah, he's 13, so he's still got a ways to go.
He's got to climb that ladder.
Yep. So, like, first you got to start with, okay, who are the wide receivers in the top 6, right? Malik Neighbors, Nico Collins, Justin Jefferson, Jaden Reed, Chris Godwin, Juwan Jennings. Obviously, Juwan
Jennings is
the guy out.
Reed's iffy.
Is Reed iffy?
Reed's looked pretty good.
He's looked good. I mean, he's had
Jordan Love
he's had 2 huge games.
Yeah, and guess what 2 games those were?
Jordan Love, yeah, absolutely.
And now Jordan Love's back. Literally, he scored over 27 points per game with Jordan Love. He's back. I think Jaden Reed's in. Everything why I preached him up in the offseason, and I literally 3 leagues I gave up first.
Love
for him.
me some Jaden Reed.
Yeah. He's a poor man's Debo.
Godwin could stay in. I could see him falling out depending on how much they target Mike Evans.
Is Jaden Reed
in that role, that slot role, like I said,
is Jaden Reed a poor man's Debo Samuel? Because I feel like he's better than him. I don't know.
No, I'm talking like primo prime Debo,
gotcha.
like getting passes out.
Gotcha.
He gets used at the backfield like Debo does.
Thank you.
Yeah. Is he a poor man's Debo? No, he's better. Yeah, he's younger and better now. That's not what I'm saying. But kind of like Debo.
I just wanted to make sure that didn't go unchecked.
Let me say it this way. Debo's
check yourself.
Debo runs the ball better than Jaden Reed does.
Yes, he does.
So that's why he's a poor man's Debo. Not like Debo's superior, but the way they're
Reed's
used.
a better receiver. Debo's a better running back.
Yeah, so I don't think Reed falls out, dude. I think
he's got shades of Debo.
So that leaves you
50 Shades of Debo.
Chris Godwin and Juwan Jennings. Juwan Jennings I have out for sure. I think Chris Godwin.
He's iffy to stay top 6. I think top 12, but.
100%.
Yep.
But he's 50-50. Because remember when Matt talked about Chris Godwin, I was like, dude, you're crazy here.
Oh,
like,
yeah, we fought him tooth and nail.
I thought Godwin was a buy months ago. And I said, once they announced that the new offense system that Godwin was going to play and slot in, I was like, dude,
you just wait. Jalen McMillan's coming for him.
Coming.
So that leaves
really, really
that
slowly.
Leaves maybe 2 spots open. I would consider it closer to 1, but
It's a bold prediction show, people. Don't hold me to it. God, I don't hold you to your stupid predictions.
I didn't say that Kyle Pitts would be tight
We'll get
end
back
1.
to it. We'll get back to it. So even if I want to say Godwin gets out, I think it's highly more likely Godwin can get out because the guy's behind him. Amon-Ra St. Brown, Jamar Chase, CeeDee Lamb. Like those guys.
Consistability.
I give those guys better odds than Marvin Harrison Jr. to get in those top those 2 spots than Marv. So I would have Marv as top 6, very low. Wide receiver 1, I'd give it like a 7.999.
There we go. All right.
That's it.
That's it, man.
All right, so week 4, no major injuries. I missed an injury show besides Rashee Rice. That blows. Crazy they haven't announced the ACL tear, though. Yet.
I know. By now, it usually would have come out.
And they're getting second opinions. It says it's weird.
So much swelling? Or because I know sometimes there's a lot of swelling, they have a hard time being able to.
That always breaks the next day. Like, they came back.
MRI
quick.
confirmed.
Yeah, and they said it was ACL tear. Like, oh, it looks bad, ACL tear. And all of a sudden, it's like they're getting second opinions, and it's like everybody's referring to like a weird injury. So is it like a partial tear maybe where you don't need surgery?
Maybe not an ACL, but an MCL or some sort of other tendon in there that you don't.
Because they're still saying he's likely still out for the year, but I just wonder if he won't need surgery. But at that point, you just get to surgery.
It was just like its kneecap shattered or something weird like that. Like,
yeah. Hey, guys.
His knee bent the wrong
It was weird.
way, man. It was a weird.
Yeah, I mean, it's a broken kneecap.
I mean, it looked like very hyperextended. I guess it didn't. We've seen knees bend worse than that.
Right.
Yeah, my boy, my favorite player ever. He made the letter V.
Hey, on the way back though, he's cleared for practice.
Yeah, and what's funny is Jonathan Brooks wasn't.
He was not. I almost brought. I was trying to bring that up earlier too, which is
Jonathan Brooks
great
did
for
not
him.
got.
He's not cleared yet.
Not cleared. Huh?
Not cleared.
I didn't see
him
that.
and somebody else were not cleared.
Yeah, there's a few guys that were off-season pup guys that are still not cleared.
Did you see Chubb went on his Instagram and posted the Browns helmets? It's white and orange. He went on Instagram right and posted the helmets like he's wearing them soon. I think he's gonna be back sooner than later.
Dude, there's nobody easier to root for.
I just hope he looks good.
It's funny. I felt so disengaged with the Browns this year, and maybe that's part of it. Like, there's nobody that I want to root for on the team right now. Nick Chubb being back, that's somebody I want to root for.
Badly.
Yes.
I miss you, Nicholas Jamal Chubb. Baby, come back.
Adios.